New Earth Strategies, Day 2, Part 3. And I forgot I was at the end of my data, so I just deleted a little bit, and I got a couple more minutes to try to wrap it up. That was a shorthand of the version of the creation myth vision I saw. And what it's like saying is that it makes all three of these perspectives valid, and you see how they work together. And I can get more into detail about that. And that's what makes it possible to consider the idea that the Christians are right, but so are the Buddhists. You get a chance to really understand who you are and do some meditation and rise to your higher nature and understand your own intrinsic connection to compassionate, lucid discernment. But when you get there, then you understand, wow, Jehovah really had some interesting ways of helping us parse through all this crazy bullshit we were going to run into at the end when we were trying to all work it out and get all on the same page from so many different starting points, including the whole idea of evil and how you can get wrong and how you can bring it back and all these things. And that's where we're at. That's where we're at. The Aquarius prophecy, which comes from who knows where, but the Babylonians. I'm saying let's call that Buddhite since it's not Jehovite. It talks about the idea that we're entering all this energy of understanding spirit better. Aquarius is all about all this. I'm in the middle of Aquarius, February 8th. And but it also says a hidden part of the Aquarius prophecy is full disclosure, everyone about everything they need to know to actually be clear about the reality of all of it. And most of us, including me, don't really know all of it. We know some of what we know, and a lot of us are stuck in very narrower perspectives that lets us imagine someone else as the enemy. Now, a lot of this comes from the Jehovites. I'm going to have to shout. A lot of this comes from the Jehovite side. Because they're saying, yeah, it's not just okay. We're going to make it good. We're going to make it stick. We're going to make it really work out. Which both from the Buddhite side, Buddhites are like, yeah, it's a generic spirit. You can pretty much do. No, there's a specific way of getting it right. What is the Buddhite issues with having Jehovah be an entity? He's one of us. That's what the Jehovites don't get. And yet they're preaching oneness. How does that compose? Yeah, that's the big discrepancy right there. There's another big discrepancy about how he came into being, because the Jehovite side just has him be preeminent of reality itself, and that's not possible. What's really, the way it happened is emptiness, and then emptiness is the energy of being there-ness, and then that differentiates. And then the first differentiation is feminine, and her energy is appreciating and being there, and that comes to its own point of having to go somewhere next. Boom, because it's lonely, and it's the solving of the loneliness that brings about the material plane, and yet it happens through specific individuals like you and like me and like Jehovah, who I think I met in a previous life. He doesn't incarnate often. Now and then, very strategic. The whole Bible thing and what's going on with Israel. See, there's like a toxic side of telling people what to do. That's why you need the Dark Brotherhood to soften it and bring it back. And I call it dark. You can just call it the inner twins. And what we got to see there is the feminine side, how that was actually first, but not necessarily in a place that could create a universe. How the feminine side of appreciation and art and being there-ness has to be like the reason we're doing this. And then, but also understanding that, thankfully, the outer twins are business people and know how to make things work. But we got to work together to have the whole thing happen. And Jehovah himself understands all of this. I'm saying to the Jehovites, don't you think he knows that they're like most of the world or a lot of the world is not going to be Christian? And that we have this place now where all the UFOs are showing up? And even though we're just one galaxy among bazillions, it's a huge, super huge cosmos. And yet it all comes back to that one point. You have to get used to infinity. I like to say 0 = 1 = infinity. You could say that about pure emptiness. There's only one of it. Pure emptiness. It's 0. There's 1, and it's infinite. And somehow we embody all that now and still are here to look at it. And it's paradoxical, but it works. It's the paradox of information theory. How that conveying information from someone's got to be there to understand it. Then there's got to be a message. Then there's got to be a code. And now you can get into practice, personal practice, by just forgetting all the craziness and have faith, but you have to have lucid, compassionate discernment and not be afraid of yourself. But you trust your intuition and you trust your body information. And then you're in the middle making choices. That's Jehovah, let's say, and Christ is the reality of the pain and the suffering we all need to go through and transcend. And the rest of the one mind could be intuition. And it all vibrates as a oneness, so it does come back as a wholeness, even though we don't understand it necessarily. Now, it's understandable. It is possible to understand it. But mostly we inhabit it and we come at it from different directions. I don't know how much time I got. Let me wrap this up. In the current world, we have the need to get our politics, economics, and social interactions straightened out. The Jehovah story is coming around. A lot of the biblical stuff is real, but he's not saying everything. I mean, he's not taking into account in the story. It's told so that there is enough people that really hold on to that energy and bring it through, because it really does heal. And Christ was genuinely whatever he's. I have a harder time understanding Christ than I do Jehovah. To me, it's quite amazing how that works, but it does, and he's real, and the whole thing is real. So, but what I bring is how they come together. I bring that understanding, and I think that we need to translate all this higher values into practice, and not as an ideology point, because that takes the worst of. So you have to balance. The left is almost a parody of Jehovah now. They're just demanding everybody follow the rules, and then everything comes from government that you can't question. What the hell? That's not. The left is supposed to think for yourself. Everybody's an individual. We all have our perspectives, and we need to understand each other. So yeah, and then we need to work it out in the real world. So I'm telling. So this, because you're thinking the UFOs are going to save us. They don't know. This is a complicated society, and we're trying to work out all this greed and selfishness and backstabbing and kinkiness and whatnot that happens when you have all this coming together of these different angles and things that need to heal. We're in a place where what we got is what we haven't healed yet. Our own lizard minds. Forget the Anakai and the Draconians. Just all of it is a oneness that it comes together in humanity right now on this planet in the next 10, in a few years. The biblical prophecies are what happens if nobody else does anything. Yeah, we get the mark of the beast, possibly Third World War, but then where is heaven on earth? So the idea of heaven on earth, and it's even actually in the Bible, that we're going to actually try to solve poverty and heal blindness. That's not heaven, that's earth. So the idea that we're going to try to do works on earth, and it's not just to all get to heaven. We're going to make heaven on earth. There's no separation between the material and the spirit. The material is the fruit of spirit, and it embodies all the complications of actual detailed infinite coming into being. But it does resolve, and it comes from a place of unified oneness and wholeness, a wholeness that includes all of us. As the source, we all connect to the source. But the physical world is Jehovah's special, domain. Like you have the president of the company, or you have dad. It's like, could have been you. Thankfully, I'm telling you, it's not an easy thing. And yet, it's glorious. And it's peaceful. And there's Sophia. And the whole thing is love. But it's not just as simple as say, oh, it's okay, it's all love. No, because then you get it wrong in the material light. And it's huge, infinite, but it's coming around, man. And there are all these advanced civilizations out there, but to me, they're all either socialisms or to some happy fascisms or whatever. There's a lot that needed to happen. That's why people regret where we are. Looking back, did we do something wrong? What did we get wrong? Nothing. And what we have now is an amazing cornucopia of different cultures that have survived. We have all these amazing techniques. What we need to do now is really manifest them as ventures that are happy, wholesome. That's what we're calling companies right now. Different fractals. You try to put it all generic and have it all be one thing. That's too mental. That's a mental thing. And you know, the spirit tries to reduce reality to simple concepts. The material light brings it back to the fullness and the lushness of all the details. That's why they're equal. And they're sort of what it's not. Oh, geez, I had it wrong. Rupert Sheldrake. It wasn't holographies. It was morphogenetic fields. Whatever.